Plato argues the merits of learning to calculate. And to which class do unity and number belong?
I do not know.
Think a little, and you will see that what has preceded will supply the answer. For if simple unity could be adequately perceived by the sight or by any other sense, then there would be nothing to attract the mind towards reality any more than in the case of the finger we discussed. But when it is combined with the perception of its opposites and seems to involve the conception of plurality as much as unity, then the thought begins to be aroused within us, and the soul, perplexed and wanting to arrive at a decision, asks, what is absolute unity? This is the way in which the study of one has power of drawing and converting the mind to the contemplation of reality.
And surely this characteristic occurs in the case of one. For we see the same thing to be both one and infinite in multitude?
Yes, and this being true of one, it must be equally true of all number.
Certainly.
And all arithmetic and calculation have to do with number?
Yes.
And they both appear to lead the minds towards truth?
Yes, in a very remarkable manner.
Then this is the knowledge of the kind for which we are seeking, having a double use, military and philosophical. For the soldier must learn the art of number, or he will not know how to organize his army, and the philosopher also. Because he has to rise out of a transient world and grasp reality, and therefore he must be able to calculate.
That is true.
And our guardians are both soldiers and philosophers?
Certainly.
Then this is a kind of knowledge which legislation must make a subject of study, and we must endeavor to persuade those who are in position of authority in our state to go and learn arithmetic, not as amateurs, but they must carry on the study until they properly understand the nature of numbers, nor again like merchants or retail traders with a view to buying or selling, but for the sake of their military use and of the mind itself, and because this will be the easiest way for it to pass from the world of becoming that of truth and reality.
That is excellent.
Yes, and now having spoken of it, I must add how charming the science of arithmetic is, and in how many ways it is a subtle and useful tool to achieve our purposes, if pursued in the spirit of a philosopher, not a shopkeeper.
How do you mean?
I mean, as I was saying, that arithmetic has a very great evaluating effect, compelling the mind to reason about abstract number, and rebelling against the introduction of visible or tangible objects into the argument. You know how steadily the masters of the art argue against and ridicule anyone who attempts to divide absolute unity when he is calculating, and if you divide it, they multiply it, taking care that no one shall never be shown to contain a multiplicity of parts.
That is very true.
Now, suppose a person were to say to them, Glaucon, "Oh, my friends, what are these wonderful numbers about which you are reasoning, in which, as you say, there are constituent units such as you demand, and each unit is equal to every other, invariable and not divisible into parts?" What would they answer?
They would answer as I should think that they were speaking of those numbers which can only be realized in thought, and there is no other way of handling them.
Then you see this knowledge may be truly called necessary, requiring the mind, as it clearly does, to use pure intelligence in the attainment of pure truth.
Yes, that is the effect of it.
And here is another point, that those who have had a natural talent for calculation are generally quick at every other kind of knowledge. Even the slow-witted, if they have had an arithmetical training, even though they may derive no other advantage from it, always become much quicker than they would otherwise have been.
Very true.
And indeed, you will not easily find a more difficult study which come harder to those who learn and practice it.
You will not.
And for all those reasons, arithmetic is a kind of knowledge in which the brightest citizens should be trained and which must not be given up.
I agree.